Good evening and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk. Tonight, we're fortunate again to have with us, after the elections, our concurrent Vice Mayor and now the #1 Councilor-Elect of Dumaguete City, Attorney Karissa Tolentino-MAXINO. Councilor Maxino, Vice Mayor Maxino. I don't know how to call you na. Vice Mayor or Councilor-Elect Maxino. Anyways, Vice, good evening and thank you for being my guest again in Let's Talk.
Good evening, Dok Dinno, and good evening to everyone.
Okay. Now, Vice, talk about your thoughts of being elected as #1 city councilor for the second consecutive election.
Consecutive election victories are great. It's very great, but winning the election as #1 is even better since it shows the level of trust the public has in a candidate. I worked hard and did my best to fulfill my responsibilities, and I'm glad that people appreciated that. And in fact, Dok Dinno, I even got more votes this time around.
Now, what do you think were the factors that contributed to your being elected and you as #1 councilor of Dumaguete City?
I'm pretty sure it's not money because I don't have any. I heard some who used money, but also did not make it. Also, it takes more than an opinion or stance on an issue to be a good representative of the people. I think the voters looked at the qualities, track record, and dedication of the candidate. Essentially, it's about having contributed to the short and long-term well-being of the city now and in the future. Wow. And I'm happy to have met these requirements with my hard work and loyalty to them.
Okay, well said. Now, unfortunately, there were some members of your team, your teammates who didn't make it this time around as city councilors. Your message to them?
Dok Dinno, I believe in destiny. You lose, but you get to go on a path you should have been on. And based on experience, losses have propelled me to greater heights. So to my teammates, your efforts have created a movement for you, a community of supporters and volunteers who care deeply about you and what you are standing for. So there's still a bright future for you.
Well said. Now, with out of curiosity, with the opposition taking the majority of the seats in the city council, how do you see the city council helping in all programs, projects, and activities of Mayor Iperebollo, who just got re-elected for another term?
I believe that the legislative and executive must work together to do what is right for Dumaguete. So there should be teamwork.
Now, in a few weeks or months, the new set of councilors will be convening, and one of the main agendas definitely in a few weeks will be the committee chairmanship and membership in each committee. Now, given that opportunity to decide on your choice of committee, what committee would you be interested to be a part of or to be a chairperson of?
Currently, Dok Dinno, I'm the chairperson of the Committee on Education, so I would like to retain that if possible. I'm also interested in the committees on rules and employment, but it's up to my colleagues whether they would give me a committee or not. I've always been passionate about these matters like education, employment, and rules.
Okay. On that note, if you were not given any committee assignment, talk about how you will be able to shape public policy in the absence of committee assignment.
All right. Whether I belong to a committee or not, I still have a voice in the council, and that's under the law. For me, it really doesn't matter. I can still introduce relevant laws and resolutions. Being a committee chair or a member of a committee is just additional work, but it does not take away your voice in the council. So I can still pass ordinances and resolutions for that matter.
Now, talk about some of the major accomplishments done by you in your capacity as vice mayor.
First is when I sat as vice mayor in June 2021, we we start our meeting on time ever since. We've started meeting on time, and I'm proud of that. When I say meeting sessions, committee meetings, and then my office was able to handle also the employment opportunities from South Korea. Mayor Rimolio has assigned that to my office, and I'm very, very proud to say that we have successfully sent workers to Korea, and soon we'll be sending more. I heard the next batch will be around 300 workers that will give a lot of opportunities to Dumaguetanos.
Yeah.
And then I've also initiated a automation in the vice mayor's office as well as in the city council's office, although it's not yet fully implemented, but we are working on it. We are trying to encode all the ordinances that were passed, and we intend to have the ordinances, resolutions, and other relevant documents to be uploaded online.
Okay.
That's my goal in the vice mayor's office and the city council's office.
Okay. Now, talking about last election, talk about the lessons and realizations that you had in the last elections.
People still choose. They don't look at the party. I realized that they don't look at the party, but the candidate as an individual. I've also realized that voters in Dumaguete are intelligent. They look at your qualifications and attitude, and not all can be bought by money. It is also unlikely that everyone will believe the lies spread by the detractors. And it is not enough to just sing and dance your way to the voters' hearts. You have to, singing and dancing, that wouldn't work based on my experience.
Anyways, that's good to hear, Vice Mayor. Now, okay. Now, during the campaign, you were subjected, and it's a fact that you were subjected to a lot of ridicule and cyberbullying for your principled stand on certain issues that did not sit well for some of your vocal critics, no? And yet, despite all of this, you came out top-notcher and #1 Councilor-Elect in this election. Your thoughts on that?
Maybe it's because I adopted a let-it-go attitude, Dok Din. I remind myself that bullies are still human. They are still human beings. They eat, sleep, and live just like I do. The only difference is that I am not a bully and they are. Okay. So I forget about them and I just focus on my work. And I think the electorate saw that.
Now, you think that it was all worth it for this election? I mean, going through that cyberbullying and all of these criticisms, was it worth it in the end?
Yeah, I believe so. Experience is the best teacher, as the saying goes, and it's not really the destination but the journey, and I enjoyed the journey during the campaign.
Okay. Now, who do you seek advice from when making major decisions, political or otherwise?
I pray, Dok Din, and I think that gives me strength. And I also talk to my family and friends.
Now, as an incoming councilor and you as #1 Councilor-Elect, could you talk about some of the legislation that you would be, briefly talk about some of the legislation that you're thinking of initiating once session begins anew?
I would prioritize education, employment, social services like aid to senior citizens and those who have less in life, and free legal services. I am currently a faculty of Silliman as well, and we are working on a program that would provide more free legal services to those who cannot afford lawyers. And I would like to pass an ordinance also supporting that. so that the city government can contribute also. And then regarding employment, Councilor Michael Bandal and I are actually sponsoring an ordinance that's already for second reading now. We are working on giving priority to Dumaguetanos when it comes to employment, and requiring establishments to also submit data, of course, without violating the Data Privacy Act, to submit data to our PESO office so that we can monitor the workers in Dumaguete and we would know the demands as well, so that we can properly match those who are applying and those who are looking for a job. So those are my priorities, considering that giving education and employment to our constituents in Dumaguete is a sustainable program compared to just giving aids and giving assistance to them. They have to also I mean, if you there's this saying, I heard this from DepEd, that if you give a man a fish, then he'll survive for a day. But if you give him work or you teach him how to fish, then he'll survive for a lifetime. So that's my principle in drafting or crafting policies in the city.
I think I asked you this question during the campaign when you were our guest here, but for the benefit of our viewers who didn't see that episode, out of curiosity, you're now vice mayor. You're not sitting vice mayor right now. Why was it that you decided to run as councilor instead of running as vice mayor? Was it a party decision or was it your personal decision not to run as vice mayor and instead run for councilor?
That was partly my decision and the party's decision. The party has already identified the next vice mayor a year prior to the elections, and I respect that.
Okay.
But I could have run also as independent, but I did not, considering that I wasn't really planning to become vice mayor. And when I was asked, I think you asked me, I wasn't really planning, but of course, if you'll ask me if I want to be mayor, then my answer is yes. But for me to aspire for vice mayor, that's really not part of my plan, considering that I'm a practicing lawyer, and the work of a vice mayor and a councilor is almost the same, except that the vice mayor is to preside and to manage an office. So logically, I would choose the job that would make me help my constituents, that would fit my desire to help my constituents, and as well as I can also do my legal practice as a practicing lawyer. So I think that would be more, how do you call this, appropriate for my long-term plans.
Okay, well said. Now, Vice Mayor, talk about the Mayor Ipe has earned his and has been reelected for a fresh mandate as city mayor. And you know for a fact that most of the city councilors now are from the opposition. Now, despite differences in convictions and motivation, how would you think personally, on your own opinion, could we still turn out to be the council to be effective and responsive to the needs of the citizenry and the furtherance of progress and development of Dumaguete City, with Mayor Remolo working with the city council?
I am a positive thinker, so I'm confident. The people have spoken. As they trusted me, so do I trust the electorate. So the people chose them. So I'm confident now that we can still work together for the city and not for personal interest.
Okay, well said. Now, at this juncture, Vice Mayor, your message to your family, supporters, and your fellow public officials and all your loyal supporters that help you to be the #1 city councilor this time around again.
Okay. I would like to take this moment to thank everyone who helped me with my campaign, with our campaign. I especially want to thank the voters in Dumaguete City who voted for me and placed their confidence in me. I am very humbled and honored. To my family, I want to thank you for always being there for me. In the event that I were to pick anyone in the world to be in my corner, supporting me throughout the difficulties of life, it would be my family 1,000 times over. To my fellow public officials, forget about the elections and our differences and let's work together. Collaboration and teamwork can make great things happen.
Well said, Vice Mayor. Again, thank you for being my guest for tonight's episode of Let's Talk. I'm sure, again, that this will not be the last time that you'll be guesting, and definitely when you're down in work with City Councilor anew, I'm sure there will be a lot of questions, and Let's Talk will be there to ask you those questions and for us to hear your answers. No, thank you very much, Vice Mayor Attorney KARISSA Tolentino-MAXINO. Thank you.
Thank you, Dok Din. Thank you, Let's Talk.
So that was our guest for tonight, the incumbent Vice Mayor and #1 City Councilor-Elect Attorney KARISSA Tolentino-MAXINO. Please do continue to like us at our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter accounts, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel, Let's Talk with Dok Dinno Dumaguete. So that's our show for tonight. I'm Dok Dinno. Be well, and let's keep talking.